Directive 3, a public speaker's preparation is the key to presentation success. This cannot be stressed enough. Preparation is the most important thing a public speaker does to ensure successful presentations every time he or she speaks. Time management, so incredibly valuable. Time must immediately be acknowledged and managed. Anytime you have the privilege, emphasis on that word privilege, because that's what it is. When we're standing up in front of an audience, it is a privilege to speak to them. Anytime you're given the privilege to do so, you immediately want to whip out your organizer and figure out exactly how you're going to manage your time. First and foremost, acknowledging what day you plan on doing the presentation, how long the presentation has to be. What day will you have your audience analysis done by? What day will you have your outline done by? What day will you have your note cards put together? What day will you actually commit to standing up and practicing your presentation? Look at this woman juggling the clocks. Look what it says underneath her. Always early, never late. Years ago, when I had the privilege of running the speech team at Valley College, we had a policy. Anytime somebody wanted to compete at a public speaking competition, they had to show myself or another coach their presentation 2 weeks before they actually had to do it. This would ensure two things. One, when they got up to speak, they would have a fantastic experience. And two, they would make LA Valley College look good in competition. Being prepared and time management go hand in hand. Sometimes you might even have the privilege of doing a presentation that is just so incredibly important that it might end up altering your life, perhaps something for work or business. With that considered, you want to consider the notion of purposeful neglect. Purposeful neglect. You're probably thinking, what the heck is that? And that's what I thought the first time I heard purposeful neglect. The pastor at my church is known around the world as a fantastic communicator, and I don't mean like a TV preacher, but a scholar. And I saw him interviewed in front of about 5,000 people, and he was asked the question, why are you such an effective communicator? He quickly responded, purposeful neglect. The person interviewing him and everybody in the audience, myself included, was like, what the heck is that? So he asked him, well, can you explain? He said, sure. When I have to give an important presentation, I neglect the golf course. I neglect television. I neglect recreational reading. I neglect exercise. Sometimes I neglect eating and sleeping. I neglect everything until I have to step up in front of that audience and deliver the message. I neglect everything until I am certain that that message is ready to be delivered. Think about how great you could be at anything you wanted to if you gave it that kind of time and attention. Back in 2013, a gentleman called me to help him on a speech that he was to deliver in October. A 3-minute speech. This gentleman called me 6 months in advance to deliver a 3-minute speech. I'm thinking, wow, this dude's over the top. But of course, I didn't tell him that. If he wants to pay me to help him, I'm going to do that. But after about a month of working with this gentleman, I went to thinking, he's over the top, to thinking, wow, there's a reason that this man is one of the most decorated soldiers on the planet. There's a reason that this man is one of the most celebrated surgeons on the planet. And there is a reason that this man in October will be speaking at Harvard. He is focused on excellence like nothing else matters, just like a laser beam. He spent 6 months working on a 3-minute speech to deliver at Harvard. And it was an amazing speech. This man is my example of purposeful neglect. So with that, I want you to consider the truth that time management is the biggest indicator of your preparation, which you are all learning, some of you at this moment right now, as you try to get your last presentation done and uploaded. And that in the future, as you're considering time management, you will also consider the notion of purposeful neglect. Also note, this is part 1 to preparation. There'll be another video, part 2, also dealing with preparation, just because, like this quote says, it is the most important thing a public speaker does. So we're going to give a lot of attention to preparation.